Hi, I'm Carl.
And I'm Donna.
And welcome to
Ramblin' On
RV.
Well, we're back with the bike rack, and we finally got the straps in that were very hard to come by. Thule didn't have them online. I had to it took me a couple of days to find the right ones. The ones that I ordered for the bike rack before were incorrect. So the reason that we need the extra ones, let me start over. This, if you guys missed the last video about our new bike rack, this is the Thule, T-H-U-L-E, EZ-Fold number 2. And part of the reason that we like this one is because it folds up. I think there's probably a release or something. Anyway, no, it just folds up just like that. So it folds up like that. It goes into the hitch on the truck or the RV, and then you open it up so that it will accept the bikes. The problem was the standard straps that come on it are not long enough to go over the fat tires on our electric bikes. So I got new straps that are longer. As you can see from here, can't quite turn that one. There we go. So that's where it's going to be. This is the one that came with it, and this is the longer one that we've ordered. Now this goes on with just an Allen wrench, so I'm going to unscrew these and install the new ones.
You could be larger than life, bigger than the world, living out the hopes and dreams of every boy and every girl. You could fly higher than the sky, shine brighter than the stars.
I wanted to show you guys up close. This is these extended ones are called the Thule XXL Fat Bike wheel straps, and it does come with hardware, new hardware. And there's also a little adapter if you need it for, I guess one of the other bikes requires it. But what I've done is I took off the old straps. I'm going to go ahead and use the same hardware to put the new straps back on. It's a little tedious unless you have a ratcheting Allen wrench, which I do not, because you can't quite get it all the way around to spin, so you've got to take it out and, you know, do this thing. But so far so good. So check back with you in a minute, guys. I'll let you know how this is working out. Hey, by the way, this task is a little easier with my handy dandy little folding gardening bench. So if you guys want any more information about it, let me know in the comments. Okay, I've got my straps in. Let's give it a try.
Okay, so last time we tried to show you how we put the Thule bike rack on the back of the truck, and as you know, we ran into some difficulties. So this time we're going to do it again, and we are certain that it's going to work for us here. So first thing you want to do is get your Thule over near your vehicle, right? Because we're gonna lower this part, and it's gonna lock in to place, and then we're gonna put the stinger into the receiver hitch, which is locked on there with a locking pin. We're gonna put the stinger in there, and then remember I showed you how you could crank it and it would lock itself into place. Basically what it does is it oversizes it so that it wedges in there good. And then this device right here that I kept showing you would flip in, it does not lock. It's your safety catch though. So you have to line it up with and put it into a hole. So we'll put this front piece in, we'll wedge it, and we'll lock it in with that pin. Okay, so we're gonna line this up and stick it in the receiver. And so we'll pull out the safety hook and we'll get it in there where we need it. There you go. And then we'll spin this handle right here, and by doing that, it actually expands this to the point where it will not come out of there. But you want to make it really good and tight. And remember, this knob will lock, and then nobody can take this off of your vehicle, right? It's on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold this out. I'm going to ask that Donna hold this out. I'm going to give it a good tug and make sure. Okay, so I'm pulling on it, and it ain't going nowhere. It is not coming out of there. Your little safety hook on there, you've got it wedged good. And normally, if we were really going to drive somewhere right now, I would lock that knob so that this will never come, you know, nobody can pull this off. So that's how you get it into your hitch, and you wedge it in. We're safety connected with that little hook right there, and it's not going anywhere anyway. What I like about the Thule also is, I don't know if you notice these reflectors here. So even if you have it in the up position, you've got the reflectors, and then when you fold it down, you still have those reflectors. So if somebody comes up behind you, because this hangs off your vehicle, I don't know, about 3 feet. If someone comes up behind you, they can see it because the reflectors will light up. So I folded that down, right? As you might remember from our last video, these are going to actually hook to the cross members of the bikes once we get them up on here. And then Donna has already shown you how she put the new straps on, the longer straps. That's what really derailed us last time. So we got these straps on here, and they'll go through the tires and down through these ratchet devices. And I'll show you how those work in a minute, because they're pretty cool. And that's what I know about that. As you might recall from last time, we loaded Donna's bike first. And what we do is, you know, we talked to you back then about the ramp and that it comes with a ramp. And as you saw, the ramp does not work with the height of this vehicle. Even if we weren't hanging over this curb here, it's still too high up for the ramp to work. We're pretty sure it'll work for when they're on the RV. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift the bike up, Donna on the back end, me on the front end, and we're going to set it into the wheel wells of the bike rack. Donna takes the back and I take the front, because the front gets a little bit crazy because the wheel wants to turn, right? It's the front tire of the bike. So she'll take the back. It's also, I think, just a little bit lighter than the front. She'll take the back, we'll lift it up on here, we'll lock down the crossbar catch that you saw last time, and then we'll strap those tires down.
Did we put the white one on over here last time? Because we adjusted these based on which one was, we did, didn't we? We put the white one?
Yeah.
Okay. Just checking.
Yeah, so this will be the one that, I
Right.
think that's the one that goes to the white one.
Right,
Okay, so
okay.
if you'll come around, Donna, and put your kickstand up. There we go, and then let's edge it a little bit closer before we do the lift. Get it even a little closer. There you go. Now what we'll do is we'll lift up, and then we'll set the tires into the wells, okay? So
These bikes weigh 65 pounds.
So what that means to people who have not been trained in lifting heavy weight, like me and Donna, is at some point we're going to hurt ourselves.
I hope not.
Okay, so you see the little cross member bar that I just flipped down? Hopefully you saw that. And so you turn this knob, and that'll wedge itself onto this little cross member of her bike. And again, just like the knob that's on the hitch, when we lock this, what that does is it lets this knob free spin, which means you can't turn it off. So that's on there pretty darn good. I think I'm happy with that. And so the next step is we're going to take these straps, and remember we had to get the longer ones.
Oh, I've got my tire on this one.
As you saw there, when we set the bike up on there, we set the tire on the outer strap, which goes for the black bike. And so we had to kind of stop for a minute and get that strap out from underneath the tire.
And then it's kind of a matter of figuring out the best spoke placement, because I don't want anything to happen to the spokes en route.
Well, that's a good point, and I almost did it wrong.
So on the other side, there's a ratchet bracket, and you put the strap through it, and it will ratchet the tire tight.
And we're going to show you how that works in just a second, okay?
Yeah, I love that idea.
Okay, that bike is not going to go anywhere. I'm very, very pleased with this bike.
What?
Okay, so these aren't going anywhere. This bike is going to ride. It's built for the ride. So that's the white bike on right there. So now we're going to put the black bike on, and this time when we do the ratchet straps, we're going to show you how they work. And the black bike actually goes in reverse of the white bike.
Yeah, hold on. I wanted to share something with you guys that I did, and Carl hasn't seen this yet either. The air of organization. The keys to the bike, there's 2 sets of everything. And I realized that we have a lot of keys going on. So what I've done is I've made 2 sets, and you have to keep the keys specific to the bike. So I've got D for Donna and K for Carl, and then I've labeled all the keys.
Wow.
I know. So we've got the bike key. He's got one to Donna's bike and Carl's bike. Then I've got one for the Thule rack, and then we also have one for the cable locks when we get to wherever it is that we're going and we need to lock up the bikes. And then I put them all on carabiners, and they will all be together.
That's cool.
With the bike.
Good job, yeah.
Thanks.
I like that.
Okay.
Now we're going to come over here and we're going to do the same drill. Donna, if you would, take the kickstand up for me. Well, that's a good idea. Okay, so as you guys might remember, and I think Donna has already showed you, these straps are like 2.5 times probably longer than what comes with the Thule rack. And that's really good because as you can see, we've got the big fat tires and they take up a lot of room. And then the length of your bike, your wheelbase of your bike, actually starts to play into how long those straps need to be. So keep that in mind when you're trying to figure out this rack.
One more thing that we didn't check for is the placement of the pedal on this side of the bike. We may have to adjust the wheels.
Yeah.
In order.
Well, hopefully.
Just a lot of stuff to check before we get these bikes.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and try to lift this up and see what happens.
Okay.
You ready? You in?
Almost.
Okay.
This bag is
So you can see the black bike is not wanting to ride real straight at the moment.
There you go.
I think it'll do it.
I think it will too.
So at this point, we're going to bring down this crossbar apparatus. Give me just a second here. Right?
Yeah.
And then I tighten that in. Okay, so at this point we're locking the little gripper onto the crossbar of my bike, and it's in really good shape right there. Now you can see this is wiggling pretty good, and I really am curious to see what it's going to do as we're going down the road. The good news is I can watch it in my backup camera that I have on my truck. If you can see the headache rack up there, you'll see that I installed a Furrion camera on there some time ago for purposes of hitching up, but it will also allow me to watch the bikes as I go down the road, so I'm happy about that.
The other thing you want to do is make sure that you are not going over your chain.
Oh yeah, So that's looking good.
I'm just adjusting the tire a little to make sure that it's not going to pop those spokes. I don't want it to break the spokes. Everything is a little bit movable. This bracket turns and the straps adjust and your tire adjusts.
So in looking at this now, this is actually the first time I think we've had both bikes up there and in a real life scenario. I'm a little bit concerned, to be honest with you, about this, about the bouncing, because what I'm doing here is mild compared to road conditions, right? So I think one of the things that I might do is I might try to get a shorter, stubbier insert for my receiver hitch, or modify the current one, which means I'd have to have it cut down. It looks like I need about, I don't know, maybe 2 inches trimmed. That'll get the bikes in closer to the vehicle, and by getting the bikes in closer to the vehicle, I think that will help with this wobble. Again, I'm going to kind of look at it as we test it out, and that won't be during this video, but as we test out them riding on the back of the truck, I'm going to keep an eye on them and see what they do. Okay, here's something important to know is I want, this is just set up so cool. I want you to see how this works. These ratchet straps, and they're proprietary to Thule, but the way they work is the strap actually feeds into the receptacle, right? See what it's doing there? And you can actually do that part by hand, right? But once you get it to a certain point, then you can literally click the strap down tighter and tighter and tighter. Now, granted, I think you could overdo it and break the strap, so you don't want to get too stupid, right? But that's really tight right there. That isn't going anywhere. Between that and the cross member clamp that these have, these bikes are not going to come off of this rack. I would be fully confident taking them across town and going to a place to ride if we wanted to do that. They're not going to go anywhere. The most they're going to do, though, is they're going to shimmy and shake, and I don't like that. And I don't know why I don't like that, but it just doesn't seem natural to me. It just
We are going to try putting the handlebars down, right?
Yeah, that might help a little bit too. And if you put that kind of changes the center of gravity a little bit. So to your point, like I think I can get to my bike and do that without having to make any changes to what we've done.
Yeah, I think that would help a little.
And then your bike should do the same thing because the hinges are on the outer side. So we could do that.
Yeah.
Right? And that does take a little bit of the top heaviness off of the bikes, but we still got a pretty good wobble there, and I'm not sure what else I can do to knock that off. Maybe, if I had to, I could use bungees and go to my truck and go to my tie-down rings on the truck, and maybe that'll help a little bit, or some kind of a tie-down strap. To me, it's worth it. I know that this is supposed to be easy and hassle-free, right? But I don't have a problem with, once we get them on like this, tying them down a little bit to the truck. They're very secure. The idea is that it gets rid of that wobble a little bit.
What about when they're on the RV? Any suggestions there?
Well, there might be a way to do the same thing with some straps. I think with the when they're on the RV, they're going to be a little bit closer in, tucked in. I think that's what's causing our problem, is they're hanging out so far from the vehicle. When they're on the RV, I think they'll be a little bit closer in, but I can also probably rig some tie-down straps to that as well.
I bought some additional Velcro straps, and I would like to add extra straps to the tires. That's just me. I just think that we could reinforce that a little. Do you want to show everybody how it tilts? If you have a truck bed with a tailgate, this bike rack is made to tilt so that you can get into the bed of your truck if you need to.
So if you've got this on the back end of a regular truck that has a tailgate, or any vehicle that has a tailgate, It'll actually work with a hatchback for gates that go up, right? But all you do is you come around here, you push down on that, and then these little babies, and I'm just being gentle, but they
scary.
just slide down like that.
That's a little scary, isn't it?
Yeah, but they're out of your way if you need them out of your way, right? I mean, that's
it's
just
made to do, right?
It's made to do that. It's built that way, and
this particular bike rack is rated for 130 pounds. So you guys want to be sure that you're getting the bike rack that's rated for the weight of your bike.
and at 65 pounds a piece, we're at 130 pounds.
Yeah.
So what is nice though, you can fold this down, you can get the bikes out of your way if you've got to get into the back of your truck or your SUV, and then when you're done, you just pop it back into place and it locks in on its own and you're good to go.
Okay, so the other thing about those Velcro straps that I've got, if we're going to leave these handlebars down, I'm going to want to strap those down so they don't go flopping around, because the controller is right there on the handlebars. I did want to mention that I had read some reviews about the bouncing, and I would say 2 out of 6 people said that it bounced, but the majority of the people were saying that it wasn't bouncing so much that they had a problem with it. So I think Carl's point is really good about adding an extra strap somewhere. We also have a bike cover. We're going to try that out. I want to make sure that, you know, it's the right one. Then we'll probably bungee strap the bike cover on it as well. So when we get everything set up, we've got it all on the RV and we're ready to go out of town, we're going to share with you how we did all of that. So listen, you guys, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe and share the videos. And we'll see you guys next week.